Welcome to another episode of Out of the Pods. I'm Deepti.
And I'm Natalie, and happy Wednesday.
We're laughing because right before we started recording, Natalie was like, I hate saying happy Wednesday. I need something new.
I really do.
And I'm like, what do you mean? I love it.
I was like, I hate saying happy Wednesday. What if it's not a happy Wednesday?
I know, that's true.
Like, I'm not having a good day.
Well, hopefully when people listen to us, it makes their day brighter.
I don't think so, because sometimes I will listen to our episodes, and if anything, it leaves me in a bad mood.
I think that's because we have to listen in a different way. We're not listening for fun. It's like when people hate when I say, it's a great day to have a great day.
I've never heard you say that, but I actually hate it.
Oh, I love saying that to people.
I think maybe it's because when we talk, it's always a bad day.
Yeah.
Like there's always something happening where it's like something really weird happened to us, like the date I went on.
Tell us about this date.
Pot besties, I've been dying to tell you. Like the moment I walked into Deepti's apartment, I was like, I need to tell you. And she's like, save it for the podcast. So here we go. So I went on a date last week. It was my first date since being back in Chicago after my solo trip.
Mm-hmm.
And he was super nice. He was great. We had really great conversation. We had our date at a local cocktail bar. And you know how like when you give the credit card to the waiter and he brings it back with the bill?
Yeah.
And so the waiter did that. He brought back my date's credit card and the bill. And then the waiter looks at me and he goes, hey, I didn't want to say something earlier, but my colleagues in the back know who you are. They just want to say they loved you on the show. And he's like, have a good night. Bye. And just to give some context, my date didn't know that I was on Love is Blind.
Yeah.
So he's like, what was that?
It's always awkward when that happens.
I go, oh, I was on this show a few years ago. And he thought it was a live show somewhere in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no.
Where can I buy tickets?
I was like, it's worse. It was a reality TV show.
It either scares people or it really draws them in. I don't know.
Yeah. And obviously asks, what show? And I go, Love is Blind. And he goes, oh, I've never watched, but I've seen clips. Isn't that thing where people just like go in this room and they talk to people with a wall in between them? And I was like, yeah, like that's the show.
You're like, so you've heard of it?
Yeah. And I was like, and he's like, oh, cool. Like what happens next?
Yeah.
He thought it was like just a 1 episode show.
Yeah.
It was like Wheel of Fortune. You just go in as a contestant, talk to people with a wall in between, and like that's it. And then you're like, okay, bye, see ya.
Yeah.
Like cool experiment. And he goes, that's crazy. And so what? You just like leave, and is it some psychology thing? And I was like, no. There's a reveal, and then you go to a honeymoon with this person, and then they put you in a shared apartment and you live with them for 3 weeks, and then there's a wedding. And he goes, there's a wedding?
Yeah.
And he's like, so did you get married? And I was like, oh no, I said no at the altar. And he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He literally is like, wait a minute. And then we had a second date a few days later. And he says on this date, hey, I actually brought up Love is Blind to my sister to ask if she's ever watched the show. And my sister said she has watched every season and she knew who you were.
Of course.
We had a few drinks by this point. So it wasn't like he like immediately brought it up at the start of the date. We were just like being kind of loosey-goosey. Like I admitted to like stalking his LinkedIn and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was like we were getting to that weird like, oh, you stalked my LinkedIn? Like he's like, let me tell you what I found out about you.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's so much info out there.
And he goes, yeah, it sounds like you had a pretty like contentious relationship with the guy you met on the show. And I was like, oh yeah, it was not good.
Yeah, not a walk in the park.
But I was like, oh, it's been a few years, whatever. He's like, yeah, I saw like, what, he called you a creature? And I was like, no, that wasn't part of our storyline. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I immediately thought of Creature from Harry Potter.
And he goes, sorry, I thought it was part of the show, but I saw something when I looked up the show and like you and your ex-fiance, he called you a creature recently, like last year.
Oh.
And I was like, and what's the context? He goes, I don't remember.
He's like, I got fed this information through my sister, so I don't have all the details, but this is what she reported back to me.
So anyways, we just end the Love is Blind conversation and just go off. But the moment I got into my Uber back home, I'm like, I'm looking this up.
Natalie Creature.
And there's literally a news article about how Shane on his social media called me a disgusting creature or something along that.
Damn, he must have been upset.
Last year. This happened last year. And I was like, oh, so it's like, obviously I didn't see it because he's blocked on everything. So, but I was like, why did he call me this? And then supposedly, like, the article said that he apologized. And I was like, to who?
Yeah. I was like, I didn't even know in the first place.
But I got really embarrassed because I put myself in his shoes, like as if the roles were reversed. And he was the one who went on a dating show and I looked him up.
Yeah.
And I found an article that said his ex called him a disgusting creature. Like, what would I think?
Yeah. Honestly, this is why I feel like going on Love is Blind is a double-edged sword. Like, obviously, we've had so many amazing opportunities with it, but I feel like dating is much harder now because they have this idea in their head of who you are. And your social media, our podcast, all of the articles that are out there, all the things that our exes said about us, I feel like all of that comes into play and they have all this information firsthand before you even start dating. So I feel like it makes it so much harder to kind of get away from that impression.
I know.
So
I was actually embarrassed and I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why did this happen? I was like, he really had to call me a creature?
Yeah, like as if dating is not hard enough already. Like I don't need people to be reading things like that and having
I know.
like a certain idea. Like, please.
I was like, should I give the context?
Yes.
Like, I was like, I'm not the creature. I'm not saying my ex is
Yeah.
per se,
You're
but I was like, if we were to choose the name creature in that relationship, I mean,
you're like, it takes one to know one.
Yeah, it takes one. Out of all the articles, out of anything you could have Googled, you found an article where my ex called me a disgusting creature.
You're like, did you see any of the other fun articles?
Like, imagine reading that about a guy you're dating and you're like, that's my husband.
You know what? The right one for you won't care. He's like, yeah, you're my creature. I love you. You know?
That's your new pet name.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's your new pet name.
Creature.
See, that's called putting a positive spin on things.
I'd be like, yes, master. If Shane calls me a creature because I remind him of that creature from Lord of the Rings, I thought he was pretty cute.
That's funny because
I thought he was very, very attractive, actually. So you know what? I'm going to take that as a compliment.
I'm not going to lie to you. Gollum wasn't even cute when he was human.
He was human?
Yes. He finds the ring. Okay, we need to have a Lord of the Rings marathon. But also, though, the fact that you thought of Gollum and not the Harry Potter creature,
Dobby?
the little... No, what is... he's not an elf. What is Dobby from Harry Potter?
I know.
Anyways,
he's a creature.
His cousin, Sirius
Mr.
Black's...
Creature. Oh, yeah. The
Creature, yes. Sirius Black's elf. God,
No, they're not elves.
They're not elves. Podbesties, tell us what it is. Why am I losing my mind? We're fake fans.
Let us know, Podbesties, if you read an article about someone you were dating and you found out their ex called them a creature, would you even like them anymore?
I feel like that's why a lot of reality people date within the reality TV realm because people understand it. But I just don't know if I could do that.
I was talking to a pod bestie about this in my DMs, not about the date, but more so like I think we mentioned in a previous episode, when men listen to our podcast, they'll probably be like, how annoying. And she goes, the right person will love you for like all of you. Like even if you're annoying.
I love my pod besties.
I was like, why? Do you have personal experience? And she goes, yeah, I'm annoying as fuck. And she goes, my husband loves me.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like, I think he's annoyed by me most of the time. Yeah. But she's like, he loves the core of who I am. Yeah. And I was like, okay, cool.
And then he just copes with the rest of me.
And she's like, he's just learned to like tune me out and ignore me. Yeah. But she's like, it's not a deal breaker. Yeah. She's like, as a fellow annoying person, she goes, if I found it, you'll find it. And I was like, okay, thank you.
As a fellow annoying person, that is so funny. I'm like, thank you for confirming.
I was like, okay, cool. Thank you so much.
I do love our pod besties so much because they put things into perspective for us.
Yeah.
Like, one, we're not as annoying as we think we are.
And she goes, as a fellow annoying person, I was like, wait, hold on. I was like, are you saying I'm annoying?
No, exactly. I was like, we love self-awareness. But
yeah, I was like,
damn.
Oh, and I was like, I don't think I said on that episode I was annoying.
I was like, I was calling myself cringe and other things, but like annoying wasn't one of them.
I was like, I know I was like implying it, but I don't think I like said it out right. But anyways, I thought it was so nice though. I was like, okay, you found the man who thinks you're annoying and is still willing to be in a relationship with you.
Yep.
The right person will see that article and see that my ex called me a creature and he'll be like, you know what? I love creatures.
Yes, exactly.
Out of the Pods is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's Mental Health Awareness Month, so Deepti and I really want to encourage everyone to take care of their well-being and break the stigma. 26% of Americans who participated in a recent survey say they have avoided seeking mental health support due to the fear of judgment. I've been going to therapy for years to maintain my mental health, but I think that there's this misconception that therapy is just for those who've experienced major trauma. But for me, it's really a way that helps me get to being a better version of myself, whether that's learning positive coping skills or setting boundaries with people.
I really like BetterHelp because they have over 10 years of experience matching people with the right therapist from a network of more than 30,000 licensed therapists with a wide range of specialties. And BetterHelp is fully online. You can easily switch therapists at any time with no extra cost. We're all better with help. Visit betterhelp.com/out of the pods to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/out of the pods. Okay, I don't know if you saw this, but recently Joey and Sara from this past season of Love is Blind, they went on a podcast together and they were talking about their, I'm going to say situationship because I really don't feel like they're actually dating or in a relationship, but I found the entire thing to be very confusing. I just don't understand why they can't just be like, we're dating. They're always together. They're going on podcasts together. Like, clearly you have a thing for each other. Just date.
So the pod bestie who I was DMing with, she initially DM'd me about this podcast that Sara and Joey were on.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. It's really confusing because they're saying they're not boyfriend and girlfriend, but they're like, we're kind of moving towards that point.
Yeah.
And they said when Monica exposed them, I'm saying that in air quotes, that was when we first started dating. Like that was the beginning of it. But I don't believe them.
No, I don't either. I really think that they're trying to hide it from the public just so that they don't get negative comments or like any public scrutiny from it. But I feel like this seems worse.
Because why would you go on a podcast just to confirm your situationship? Like, wouldn't you wait until you're actually in a relationship?
Yes. And that's why I'm scared of the dating world, because what do you mean you're exclusive, but you're not boyfriend, girlfriend? Like, why are there stages to the talking?
Totally.
No, thank you.
Can I tell you why I think they're lying?
Mm-hmm.
Monica already revealed that Sara was consoling Monica when their season was airing. So Sara was consoling Monica about Joey.
Mm-hmm.
And so it looks really bad if Sara and Joey were seeing each other as the show was airing. So they're fully downplaying it as if like, oh no, like this happened after our season came out, is like when we started to like think about dating or like start to see each other. Like it's not that serious.
Yeah.
But don't you think it's weird that we have heard from multiple people from the cast that they already heard things about Sara and Joey dating when they were filming the reunion, which filmed like week 1 after their season came out. So it's just, I think Sara knows she did something wrong, but they're trying to like cover their tracks by being very vague about their relationship.
Yeah, which I think is like having a opposite effect. Like, yeah, obviously there's a lot of speculation, but in my head, I'm like, we're not going to think anything less of you because you like somebody else who was your number 2 in the pods. Like, if anything, I feel like I relate to that the most. And I get it. Like your relationship with Monica might be a little bit like on the rocks because maybe Monica still had feelings for Joey, or like there was, you know, some lines being blurred. But at the same time, honesty is the best policy. Like I think this whole roundabout of them being like, oh, I don't know, we're still trying to figure it out is like, you're clearly not. Because also they did a TikTok with Leo from the previous season.
Season 7.
You couldn't even ask me what season Leo was on. Because
one of the seasons.
One of the seasons. Because I was like, I don't remember any of them. But they did a TikTok with him. And I was like, clearly they're like traveling together too, which like you're no longer just exploring, you're dating, you're together. Like just call it what it is.
I agree. Honesty is the best policy. On the other hand, I was like, you know, none of these people owe the public anything. Like they need to sort it privately. I think though it's easy to judge and talk about it publicly because Monica brought it into the public. And now Sara and Joey are bringing it into the public by having this podcast interview. And yeah, it's easy to judge knowing that, well, it feels like, I don't want to say knowing that Sarah's lying, but it feels like Sara is being a little bit
secretive.
Yeah, like you could tell like her and Joey are being super vague on the podcast about their relationship. And I feel like when you're that vague, like you're dodging questions, it's because you are trying to not reveal something or have it bite you in the ass or like something like that.
Yeah.
Because I think Sara knows that there was overlap and it was wrong of her to be consoling Monica at one point while she's secretly seeing Joey.
Yeah. And also, while you were just talking, I was thinking, we also don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Like maybe they have talked about the relationship and they're just not ready, because it took months for me and Kyle to even get to a place where we're like, oh, like, should we actually date? And so I'm like, maybe I have a new understanding of it. Like, you just never know, like,
Totally.
romantically, maybe one is lagging versus the other.
But I think that's so different. It feels like less of like they're doing this podcast to reveal that they're in a situationship.
Yeah.
It feels like they more so did this podcast to cover their tracks, refute Monica's timeline of events.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's less on Joey at this point. It's more so Sara as a friend.
Right. And I think, yeah, it's when you break girls' code, it makes you feel shitty inside. And I'm sure she's like, okay, how do I rectify this? But at this point, I feel like Monica and Sara will never be friends.
No, after all this social media stuff, like, I don't think there's any way they could be friends again.
Yeah.
I've seen comments on the clips of this podcast interview where some people are saying, well, Joey and Monica were only together for like 6 to 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And also like Sara and Monica were only friends for that same time frame. Like, it's not like these people had deep relationships. But I was like, would you ever say that about who was like the big couple from the last season? Daniel and Taylor. Imagine if people were like, oh, they got married. It wasn't that serious. Like, they're not actually husband and wife, even though they said yes to the altar, because it was only 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, I think in that bubble of Love is Blind, you get so serious that it's not just like, oh, they only dated for 6 to 8 weeks. Like, no, you lived together. You were probably physically intimate with that person.
Yeah.
You were forced to talk about marriage with that person day in and day out. It's a very, very different as people who went through it.
Yeah. And not to mention also, there's a lot of time that passes in between filming and when the show is aired. And there's a lot of bonds that are created, a lot of friendships deepen. Like, there's just a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And I feel like there's a special bond between people who did the show together.
Yeah, like friends, like girls, particularly.
Absolutely. Because they're like your best confidant. They're the ones that you go to for every stress, because no other person understands it like the people who went through it with you, especially from the women's lounge to, all of the emotions that we went through. So
like when people are like, Sara doesn't owe Monica anything, I considered Ayanna my best friend 2 weeks after filming ended.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like week 10 from the time I met her. Yeah. And also Ayanna hated me in the pods. So like really it was like after 8 weeks of friendship, okay? Like we became really, really close and best friends. Like I told her everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people are like, well, that's kind of quick and a red flag. Actually, I don't know if anyone's saying that. But like she's my best friend today, but it's because we rely on each other so hard. So people being like, oh, Sara and Monica didn't have a relationship. I mean, Sara was consoling Monica. Monica was at Sara's house or vice versa. Sara was at Monica's house. And you're saying that they're just like shallow ass friends? Like what kind of shallow ass friends do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm always like on the fence about this relationship because I do feel like there's perspectives to every side. And I feel like maybe when Monica was like, oh, I feel like Sara was consoling me through this, maybe in Sara's mind, it was different. You know, I don't know.
She just gave a pat on the back. She goes, there.
And then Monica took it as like, oh my God, like I'm getting so much love right now. You just never know. And I just feel like memories are so deep rooted in emotion sometimes that when you recall it, you think of emotions more than you do the actual truth and the situation that occurred.
Yeah. Let's say you and I weren't that close
Mm-hmm.
and our season was airing.
Yeah.
And I came over and you were venting about Shake.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, let's say I actually didn't console you. I was like, oh, crazy.
Yeah.
Like, wow. And then I went home.
Yeah.
And then you find out a week later, I've actually been going on dates with Shake.
Yeah.
Would you feel backstabbed?
Yes, I would absolutely feel upset about it. But at the same time,
wouldn't you think I was just a liar though? Like, regardless of like the relationships, like whether we were close or not at the time or whatever, wouldn't you just feel like that fucking bitch?
Yeah.
She was just in my house.
Yeah, absolutely. And okay, I imagine like, say that I am in Sara's shoes and you are like kind of venting and opening up to me, but I know that I'm like with your ex, you know?
Yeah.
I would literally be it would be awkward, but I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry. And like try to find the right time to talk. Imagine if I told you right then and then, you'd be like in shambles.
Yeah, but wouldn't you not even put yourself in the situation if I texted you like, come over?
Like,
you'd be like, no.
I don't know.
You'd be like, I'm consoling someone else.
Yeah.
Your ex.
I'm sorry. I'm preoccupied at the moment. This episode is brought to you by IQBAR, our exclusive snack sponsor. IQBAR is the better for you plant protein-based snacks made with brain-boosting nutrients to refuel, nourish, and satisfy hunger without the sugar crash. You guys already know I'm very careful with the foods I eat, and these bars are made with high-quality ingredients and are totally free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial sweeteners. I love having these as a snack anytime during the day.
So IQBAR sent us their ultimate sampler pack, and the mint chocolate chip protein bars blew us away. I now understand why they have over 20,000 five-star reviews and counting. I also love their lemon blueberry flavor. So last week, I actually ate that flavor every day as my snack before my workout classes in the mornings. It's really, really good.
And right now, IQBAR is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQBAR products, plus get free shipping. To get your 20% off, text PODS to 64,000.
Text PODS to 64,000. That's PODS to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
See, I don't know. Like the it's crazy because I feel like feelings can develop very easily. But you're right. Like, I don't think that I would proactively hang out with you.
Yeah.
But again, we don't know the timeline. I'm like, when did they even start talking? That's the part that's blurry to me, because if Sara came over and she was already in this mode with Joey, then yes, I think it's a problem, which we don't know for sure.
Well, from what we heard, cast members already heard rumblings, like had seen Joey and Sara out, already heard about them, because I think Vanessa and Nick actually asked Sara at the reunion about Joey, like her relationship with Joey.
Yeah.
And I think she was just like, we're just friends. And so it never aired in the actual reunion episode.
Right.
But by the time the reunion was filming, like there was rumblings already.
See, that's what's like, okay, it's hard. Not that I'm like on anyone's side with this. I just love playing the devil's advocate.
Totally.
Because I'm like,
you have to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not writing hard for any of these people, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is they need to bring After the Altar back. I want to see how this all went down.
Yeah.
I want to know who's lying or who's telling the truth. Everyone always says there's two sides to every story. But sometimes I feel like that's not the case.
I feel like there's all three sides to the
that's
story.
the same.
Yeah, I was like, it's always the respective person's perspective on the situation and then the actual truth. That's why I feel like emotion plays such a big role in memory. But when I was saying like I'm trying to play devil's advocate, I really think that like maybe Sara was just trying to figure out if she actually had feelings for Joey before like telling the world about it, especially her friend who, was engaged to him. So I don't know. I'm trying to think about it because I feel like I've been in this situation where people speculated a lot about my relationship, and there was a lot going on behind the scenes that Kyle? I couldn't explain to anybody.
But I feel like Kyle was a little bit different only because it's not like Shayna had any feelings for Kyle.
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that complicates it more. But at the same time, had Shayna had feelings for Kyle still, like,
would you go over to Shayna's house and console her if she was crying about Kyle?
But like if Shayna called me and was like, hey, like I really want to talk, I'd maybe go over. But then after talking to her, she's like, it's about Kyle. I'd be like, well, I'm fucked. Like, I don't know how to act.
Like,
so it's like, you don't know.
I'd be like, hey, something happened. I gotta go.
Like, who knows why Monica needed consoling, or if they were just hanging out and she kind of broke down in the moment, like maybe Sara wasn't coming over there just to console her. You're right. I want After the Altar to come back because I just need people's stories. Like, give me the facts of what happened.
Yeah.
Please.
I feel like after every season, that's when cast members start backstabbing their cast members, throwing people under the bus publicly.
Yes.
And I hate it because first, we've been in their shoes at one time when our exes were talking about us in the media. And then we're like, well, I guess it's my turn now.
Yeah.
But also as like a viewer, I kind of love it because I'm like, oh,
I know.
Like, look at all this intertwining little drama.
I know. Don't you love being away from it and being a spectator is so much more fun than being
Yeah,
in
and
the
I was like, do I need
drama?
a hobby? Like,
Yeah.
why am I so into this drama? Like,
No.
do I need to like find something to do every day? Like, why
I think
why do
about
I care about Sarah, Joey, Monica so much?
honestly, I'm with you because I'm so deep into the Bravo world too. I'm just like, I should not care about this, but I do. Alas, I do.
I mean, look, I don't really care about reality TV that much, but when there's something juicy going on, I'm like, I want all the details.
Yeah. No, you need to start watching Bravo,
I
but I
want to
know you
like
won't.
analyze.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly why I watch reality TV. It's way better than scripted series because these are actual people and their personalities and how they act in real life. And I'm
100.
like, how are you real?
No, 100%. I feel like Love is Blind is different because these are like normal people and we're not getting
Mhm.
paid like a bunch of money to do this show. Unlike other reality TV shows where it's like
Yes.
reoccurring characters and seasons.
Mhm.
I feel like with Love is Blind, one season, that's it. And you know, when you have a cast of normal people, most people, not all, like kind of protect their image.
Yes.
So like there was shit that went down in our season, guys. Like, you know, someone who had a secret girlfriend.
Oh, yes. Hmm.
And like we all knew. And I actually got a question about it in my
Yeah.
confessionals when I was filming in my confessionals. They're like, talk about like what you know. And I was like, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to like toss your cast members under
Oh,
the
never.
bus. You're like nervous to do that. You don't
Yes.
want to be part of any drama.
Absolutely.
So you're just like, I don't know anything about the other cast members. But I feel like if we ever revealed it, it would be a crazy ass show. And I feel like that's why I love hearing about the drama
Mhm.
after Love is Blind
Yes.
seasons air, because I was like, oh, this is like resentment or some shit that was like brewing
Oh.
behind the scenes. And now that they're like, we have a public platform,
Yes.
you're pissing me off. Like, I'm going to talk about you.
No, exactly. You always have the people who are not going to allow you to protect your secrets because there's at least one person on every single cast that'll be like, I will ruin you. And that's the worst, but it's also really entertaining for us. But I know exactly the secret that you're talking about from our season. Had that been revealed, I feel like people would look at that couple so differently and that whole scenario differently. And
I
it
know.
changes the entire image of their storyline.
Oh,
So
100%.
it's frustrating, but I know I do. I love the little juicy secrets.
There's also like really small things, like reasons why certain people said things.
Mhm.
Like I remember Nick talked a lot of shit about me on my season. Like it's on camera. And I was like,
Mhm.
I can tell you why he did that.
Yep.
But I didn't because I liked Nick at the time.
Right.
So
Yeah. You don't really know what anyone really said or did until you're watching the show back.
yeah.
Because everyone's nice to everyone's faces while we're filming
Yeah.
and going through the process.
It's like kind of complex, like kind of how you have to navigate filming,
Mhm.
like making sure you have cast members who won't talk badly about you. Like you need to pick and choose, like, do I say the truth about this cast member or do I keep my mouth shut?
Yeah. Yes.
Just things like that. It's crazy. But
I know. I love observing behavior and people sometimes think that I don't notice it, but it's like I love like even when we were filming, I was like, wow, this is chaos. But then you see it back and you're like, wow, there was a lot of backstabbing happening.
oh, a lot of backstabbing.
Yes. That's why I feel like I love the psychology behind reality TV participants because it drives you to do things that you would never do on a normal basis
Yeah.
because you're put in situations that you normally wouldn't be put in. And I love watching how people react to that stuff.
100%. I saw that Monica commented on one of the clips of Joey and Sarah from this interview, and she tags the podcast Dear Shandy, and she goes like, "Let me know when you want my side" or something like that.
Oh,
So I don't think this is the last time we will hear of this situation with Sarah, Joey, and Monica, and I'm very intrigued. Like I will be following along.
Yeah, honestly, why not? I feel like the tea is kind of hot here, and I
Yeah.
just really want to know what's going on. So
I think there's going to be a lot of backstabbing and throwing people under the bus.
Ugh.
And also, I saw Ben commented too with an emoji, like the eyes emoji, being like, "What's going on?" type
Which
of
is
thing.
crazy because honestly, they're doing their own type of speculation. So it's like it's tit for tat at this point.
Yeah, but I was like, okay. I was like, what do you got? Do you have any more to say?
Yeah.
Like, say it.
Yeah, because keep going. Let's see what podcast they end up on.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking about the other day?
What?
My 20s and how much I learned through trial and error, especially with my finances. Like, why did I ever allow myself to get charged with overdraft fees? At that time, I feel like I didn't even know how much I would get charged. And I just wish I knew about Chime because when you open a Chime checking account, there are no maintenance fees. You can overdraft up to $200 fee free or get paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit.
I also wish I knew better when I was younger. A Chime checking account makes financial progress easier. You can get spotted on debit card purchases and cash withdrawals. And if you want access to your pay before payday, you can use MyPay to get up to $500 of your pay before payday with no mandatory fees or interest. When you use MyPay, you can get free transfers within 24 hours, or a $2 fee applies to get funds instantly.
So make progress towards a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/out of the pods.
That's chime.com/out of the pods. Chime feels like progress. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank NA or Stride Bank NA, members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Fees apply at out of network ATMs. MyPay eligibility requirements apply. Credit limits range $20 to $500. $2 fee applies to get funds instantly. Chime checking account required. Go to chime.com/disclosures for details.
Okay, pod besties, it is my favorite segment. I feel like I say that for every
You said that
segment.
about burning questions.
I like burning questions too. It's, you know what? I love both of them. But it's time for Dear Deepti and Natalie. You guys sent in some stories or seeking advice. So we're going to read some of them out and give our unhinged opinions. Take it or leave it.
It would be such a letdown if none of our advice was unhinged. We're like, yes, you should do this. It was very mature.
Yeah. We're aiming for mature, but at the same time, I feel like it's going to be a good discussion.
Yes. Deepti and I have very different views of the world and what to do.
But
I'm always like, so how are we getting our revenge? And Deepti's like, chill out.
You're like, the best revenge is no revenge.
She's like, choose kindness. And I was like, I don't know what that is.
But that's why we're such a good balance. And that's what I love about us.
If you're the light and I'm the darkness, we're in limbo. We're in purgatory.
Yes, purgatory.
All right. So this is the first one. Dear Deepti and Natalie, I had a falling out with my best friend of 10 years after she started dating someone new. I didn't say anything bad, just expressed concern about how fast things were moving. Since then, she's completely ghosted me. No texts, no calls, nothing. I miss her, but I also feel like I was just looking out for her. Should I reach out again or let the friendship go? Oh, this is so sad. I think what I would do is send a final text and just be like, I don't know what happened. If I did something or say something that hurt your feelings, I'm really, really sorry. Like, that wasn't my intention.
Yeah.
Like, can we talk about it? But completely understand if you need space. And then I would just, depending on the response, right? Like, if I don't hear a response, like, then, okay.
Yeah, no response.
My friend doesn't want to be friends with me right now.
Yeah.
But then maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe it was just like an I'm sorry that was needed.
Yeah. I think I would like to understand more about the situation and why you guys had a falling out, because I think that makes a huge difference on if you should be the one reaching out or not. Like, do you have anything to apologize for? And if that's the case, then yeah, reach out. But if you think like you're just naturally growing apart, then I don't think that you need to respond or reach out.
Yeah.
But if something happened and you have to take accountability for it, I think it's in good conscience to do that.
What if this friend who ghosted our pod bestie took our pod bestie's concern as more like this criticism or jealousy?
Yes,
and so she's like, I'm gonna like not talk about it. Like, she's toxic.
Yeah.
So I think it's worth for a pod bestie to reach out and just be like, that wasn't my intention, if like she thinks that's what's happening.
Yeah. I do think you're right. I think that it's important to just kind of reach out and say, hey, like, I support your relationship and like, I love you, but I just expressed concern because I haven't been able to talk to you about the situation, and then just see what happens. But yeah, you're right. I think as a friend who has had somebody tell her, oh, you're spending too much time with this person, I'm concerned, I tend to also kind of distance myself from that friend, even though that shouldn't be the case. It's just like something that happens naturally.
We were saying that the pod bestie should definitely reach out. Like, just send one final text.
Yeah, and just in support of her relationship, like, and that you're there for her.
What happened? I miss you. say everything you told us, that you do miss her and you were
Mhm.
just looking out for her, and go
Yeah.
from there.
Love it.
Don't let a man get in your way.
Okay, this next one says, Dear Deepti and Natalie, I've been dating someone for about 8 months and things are mostly great, but he's never introduced me to any of his close friends or family. I honestly haven't even asked because it feels embarrassing and I think it should come from him. Should I be worried?
Yes.
8 months is a long time.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And honestly, I know it's embarrassing to ask, but I think you should have the conversation. Otherwise, he's just gonna live in this limbo mode.
Yeah. Or like start bringing it up like, oh, am I ever going to meet your parents or family? Do they exist?
Start planting seeds.
Are you a real person?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a red flag if you've been dating someone for 8 months and don't know anyone part of their inner circle, like you've never met them.
Yeah.
But I think it depends, like, is he close with his family? Like
Yeah.
maybe there's some weird things. But I feel like
Friends?
he probably would have shared if like there was some issues.
Yeah.
Friends, I feel like, well, there's some people like who don't have friends, which is fine.
Which is fine.
Which I was like, at this age, I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
You don't need anyone but yourself.
Unless he's making up some imaginary friends
Yeah.
to you that you want to meet. Like, I'm confused as to why. I feel like friends are like the easiest segue.
But I feel like the assumption we can make here is like he does have family and
friends
that he's close to.
Yes.
I know it feels embarrassing to ask, but I honestly would just bring it up.
100%
Because
bring it up.
like, put yourself in his shoes. If you were doing the same thing to him and didn't mean to, and he's like, hey, like, should we, I don't know, like go hang out with your friends, or like, hey, like, do you think it's time to like meet the parents? Like, do you kind of bring it up like very lightheartedly?
Yeah, nonchalant.
Yeah, like
just
you wouldn't think
fun.
anything of it. You wouldn't be like, oh, like that gives me the ick. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, also, I think it's time to assess the relationship, because if it's been 8 months and you guys haven't crossed that bridge yet, I think it's time to have a conversation about the seriousness of the relationship and where you're heading before you waste any more time with this person.
Definitely bring it up.
Yeah, 8 months is
And
a
I
long
think it'll
time.
also like figure out like, oh, are you guys like in a relationship?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or is he still like, no, we're just dating, seeing each other, like it's nothing.
God, I'm not gonna lie, all these dating advice things makes me realize, oh, I'm glad I'm single right now.
Oh my gosh.
Just currently.
No, for real. But the one thing about me, I feel like I'm not the one to talk, because if things aren't progressing, I'll force its progression.
Okay.
Where I was like, yeah, we're meeting your mom. Make
I'm the
plans next
complete,
week.
I feel like I'm the complete opposite, where I'm like, let's just go with the flow and let him dictate the, you know, the speed of things. But old Deepti is dead.
She can't come to her phone right now because
Exactly.
she's literally died. No, like I feel like I have to force the progression,
Mhm.
and then I need them to match that progression.
Yeah. No, yes. I'm all about matching energy, but I feel like I want a man to take action
Yeah.
and be dominant. And I don't know, just I need a masculine energy in my life. And if I don't find that, I'm not doing it anymore.
Because right now I'm filling that gap for Deepti.
Please. I'm my own masculine energy right now. That's the problem. I'm too much in my masculine energy at this point. I need to come back to my dark feminine energy. That's what I'm working on.
I never want to because, okay, recently I moved my rug underneath my bed all by myself.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Isn't that crazy? Like, you need two people to do that. If I had a boyfriend, I'd be like, I can't do this without him. Like,
Yeah.
there's no, how could I ever move this big ass rug to be under my bed?
Yes.
And I did it by myself.
I'm so proud of you. That is so funny that you say this, Natalie, because I've been literally shopping for rugs and I've been like, who do I need to invite over to help me put it under there? Because
Well, me. That's why I am your masculine energy. But secondly, like, you could do it on your own. Like, if you put your
No, I
mind
know.
to it and have no one to rely on,
yeah.
which is, oh, that's kind of sad to say. But if it's just you, yourself, and I, no,
Yeah.
you, yourself, and you, you could do it by yourself.
No, absolutely. I feel like that's the problem. I'm like too independent at this point, and it's a problem because I'm like, oh, I don't need anyone to carry things for me.
No,
or-
100%.
Yeah, but you know, we'll get there.
Exactly.
Boat days on the lake, hot girl walks on the river, and a packed schedule is coming our way for Chicago summer. It's hard not to be outside during this weather, but it does take a toll on my hair. All that heat can increase hair shedding, while a busy schedule can add stress, which also impacts your hair. Everyone's root causes of hair thinning is different, so a one size fits all approach to hair growth does not cut it. Nutrafol has multiple formulas designed to give your body what it needs to grow and support your hair's unique needs so you can focus on living your best life all summer long.
You may have heard of Nutrafol's hair growth supplements and wondered, do they actually work? I think it's a fair question. Many hair supplements overpromise and underdeliver, but Nutrafol is different. As the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, it's trusted by over 1.5 million people and is clinically tested to deliver real results in just 3 to 6 months. Nutrafol clinically tests its final formulations using advanced hair measurement tools like hair counts and pulse tests to track real improvements in growth, quality, shedding, and texture.
This summer, stop worrying about your hair and start making memories. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code OOTP.
Found out why Nutrafol is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code OOTP. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code OOTP. All right, next one. Hi, Deepti and Natalie. I'm doing really well in my career. I recently got promoted to an executive level role at a well-known tech company. And not to brag, I make really great money. But my passion is making candles, which I've been doing for 6 years on the side. I started with just gifting them to family and friends, but 2 years ago, I opened an Etsy shop and it's doing well-ish. It doesn't bring in as much money as my corporate gig, but I'm so burnt out at my company that I'm thinking of making candles full-time. The issue is I'm the breadwinner in my marriage and my husband is so uncomfortable with this. Quitting my job would reduce our shared income household by $270,000.
Dang.
This also includes the forecasted revenue my candle business would bring in for this year. You both have taken risks with this podcast and your influencer careers. What would you do?
Oh, I don't know. As much as I love taking risks, I love money too. I don't know, because I'm all about finding passion, because I'm really struggling with that now, because I'm like, I really want to pursue something that like helps people. I'm such a giver.
But you also need to eat.
Yeah, exactly. I also like nice things, and
You have insurance payments.
yes, exactly. That's a hard one. I think it depends on.
I was going to say yes until I saw how much your shared income would be reduced. And then I was like,
by reduced by that's the problem.
yeah,
I think
like you are going to be living on $270,000 less a year. And that's a lot of money.
I don't know. I would say keep the job.
But do you think you'll be less burnt out if you stop the candle business?
I know, because I also think that you might feel more burnt out and stressed out if you don't have enough money to pay for the things that you want or keep the lifestyle that you're living now. And potentially she could always go back to it, right?
If it was me, the candles got to go.
Yeah.
I'm like, that Etsy shop is closing and I'm just going to stay in my corporate job.
And honestly, I feel like maybe save up enough to where you can do the candle business if you're feeling burnt out from it, because it can't be your primary.
Because the candles might burn you out too.
Dude, that's true. You never know what can happen. I got them. I was gonna make a funny joke on top of the pun, but I was like, it was a morbid pun.
When Deepti doesn't acknowledge my puns, I'm like,
you're like, hello, that's my best work.
This is my best comedy work. Like, can you just like acknowledge that I made this pun?
I did like the pun.
Thank you.
You're like, but it's a little too late. Thanks though.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I needed that like affirmation literally 5 minutes ago. Thanks.
No, I do think that you should potentially put the candle burning aside for a while, save up as much money as you can, and then get to a place where you can bring back the candle business, maybe part-time.
You know what? I feel like if you're super burnt out, you're like, I cannot do this job anymore. Because I felt that point too, where I was working 80 hours a week and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, your mindset and your happiness does make a huge difference as well. And if you're going to be unhappy, even with extra money, like, I don't know, money just can't always buy happiness. It can sometimes, but if you're not in a good space mentally to continue the job, then I feel like you're not going to be happy with whatever amount of money you make.
Yeah. What is your average monthly spend? Like just calculate it for a month or for the week. Some people feel like they spend less or like have the budget and they simply don't. So like before you make the decision, I mean, she is in an executive level role. And so like I'm sure you have already thought about this, but I think you just need to see like, can you live on this reduced income and is it going to be a strain? And also owning your business means that you don't have a lot of stability when it comes to the revenue you generate.
Yep.
Like, you know, it might have done really well last year, but you don't know what's going to happen this year, even though you see a pattern of it doing well. Like you don't know the year after that versus like a salary. You kind of know like, this is the base salary I'm going to get.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard for Natalie and I to answer this question and tell you to do something, but at the end of the day you have to assess where you're at financially and emotionally and mentally to be able to make that decision, because it doesn't just impact you, it also impacts your husband and your future family if that's what you guys want. So
like what your, you know, goals are as a family. Like Deepti and I feel like are able to take risks. It's just us. Like I don't need to check in with a partner and be like, I'm doing this. I'm going to quit my job to do my podcast.
Exactly.
I just make the decision.
Yeah, we are dependable on ourselves and ourselves only. So yeah.
And like, I don't think we took risks because I'm very risk adverse until I knew like this makes sense.
Right.
Financially.
So make the best decision for you based on the facts and your financial state and what you want your future to look like.
Yeah. Sometimes passions don't allow you to live.
Yeah. What if your passion burns out? Okay, our next one. Hi, Deepti and Natalie. I met someone amazing. We've been talking for a couple months, but he recently told me he's not ready for a relationship due to a recent heartbreak. He still texts me every day, wants to hang out, flirts constantly, but doesn't want to commit. I feel stuck. Am I being strung along or should I wait this out? There's a right answer.
And it's not waiting out.
It's definitely not waiting out. Learn from our mistakes in our 20s, because I feel like I've been the one to hold out for too long until they're like, sorry, it's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think you should wait for him. If he's not ready for a relationship right now and it's what you want, move on, and he could wait until you're single again to shoot a shot when he's ready.
Exactly. And also, if he's still dealing with a recent breakup and that's the reason why he doesn't want to be in a relationship, that clearly indicates that you are some type of rebound, or he's using you for attention, or he's filling a space emotionally with you and you're not that person.
If he doesn't want a relationship with you and yet he wants to take your energy and time and kind of treat you like a girlfriend, like he wants to hang out, flirt via text, no.
You don't get to have girlfriend treatment without the girlfriend title.
Yes.
It's not is that the word you were looking for?
No, I was like, you don't get to have your cake and eat it too.
Oh, yes.
But that's better.
See, we like both of them.
Yeah.
So basically, no, you cannot wait around for this person. You can find somebody else to flirt with.
Like I've been in this situation where I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait for him to be ready. Like over time, he'll be ready. Like he'll commit at some point. And I just, like, it never happens.
Yeah. And even if
it's you just getting angry and resentful.
Exactly. Even when you do get to that point, you're like, why did you make me wait this long?
Yeah.
But also, you don't want to hold out on chance and miss out on finding your forever person or your, you know, next boyfriend because you're waiting around for some guy to figure out his emotions.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
So I don't think that you should wait it out. But I also don't think he is intentionally stringing you along.
No.
Like he was honest. He's like, I'm not trying to commit right now. I just got out of a relationship.
Yeah.
I think you should end it. And I don't think you should even make it a big thing. You could just be like, I'm looking for something more serious, like kind of like best of luck.
Yeah.
Like, you know, let me know when you're ready. And that's it.
Yeah. Just like you're not looking for a girlfriend or anything serious right now, I am looking for a boyfriend and something serious.
Yeah.
So we're on different pages. And I just know that when she says that, he's going to be like, nope, just kidding. I was
ready
kidding.
as ever.
My heart is fully put together.
No, his first response is going to be like, I understand. And in a week, he's going to be like, I miss you.
Yes. Nothing brings a man back quite like you cutting off your energy from him.
Oh, 100%.
It's honestly your biggest superpower, I feel like.
Yeah. I know it's hard, especially in this like dating age where everyone plays games and is like too afraid to like say what they really want to say because they don't want to come off like needy or too like aggressive.
Yeah.
But I like it when men are also super honest with me. Like
Yes.
the guy I was dating in London where he was just like, what's your plan?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not going to stay here? Like I am looking for something more serious and like don't want to do long distance. So essentially, yeah, like it ended. But I thought it was really attractive and I had a lot more respect for him that he was just like honest with where he
Yes.
was at.
Nothing screams mature like a man who knows what they want, or even a woman. I feel like I was in my 20s so scared to be the one to open the conversation up about moving to the next step in a relationship. I always would let the man lead. But I think there's so much power in telling people exactly what you want and when you want it. And if it's not for you, you just move on. And there's nothing more attractive than walking away from something that is not meant for you.
No notes.
Love it.
Love it. You're like, I love my response. I killed it. Mic drop.
I don't even know where it came from. I was like, it must be the coffee.
You're like, love it. Loved what I said.
I meant to
Oh my God, my stomach hurts. Okay. Okay, next one. Dear Deepti and Natalie, I've been dating my boyfriend for 16 months now, and something that is starting to bother me is he tells a lot of white lies. For example, we went to a local bar to watch the Ohio State versus Notre Dame college football game, and a man next to us asked which team we were rooting for. When we said Ohio State, he asked if we went to that college. My boyfriend immediately said yes, even though he did not go there. He went to Ohio Christian University, which is much smaller, and I don't think they even have a football team. After we left the bar, I asked him why he lied, and he said he swore he thought the man was asking if my boyfriend went to Ohio Christian University. I knew that was BS, but I didn't argue back because it was an inconsequential lie and not worth the fight. Another recent example of him telling a white lie is we were driving home from a restaurant and his mom called and she asked, "Where are you guys coming from?" And he lied that we had just left the grocery store.
Interesting.
After he hung up the phone with his mom, I asked him why he lied about that. He said he didn't mean to. He meant to say restaurant, but instead, grocery store came out of his mouth.
What the heck? Oh,
I don't believe him. But it's another insignificant lie that isn't hurting anyone, so I didn't say anything more. Am I wrong not to address this further?
No, I think you're absolutely in the right because it's clearly becoming a habit. I'm all about saying certain white lies once in a while.
This isn't a white lie, though. This is a straight up lie.
Well, the college one's kind of crazy. The grocery store, even then, it's not really a white lie. Like, you tell white lies to protect someone's feelings, not to...
Exactly, to be polite.
Yeah, not to like...
And like, what was the point of like, for example, when I was lying on my solo trip, it was for protection. Like,
Right.
I didn't want people to know I was by myself. I didn't want them to know my full name or like give details so they could look me up because I
Yeah.
was like, I don't want you to go to my social media and see like where I'm posting from and where I'm at.
Right.
But this just feels like he's just lying to lie.
And that's the thing. I think he's like become so used to it that it's become like a part of his life.
And he won't even admit to you that he's lying. Like, he's gaslighting you.
Yeah. Oh, that's 100% gaslighting.
When he's like, oh, I thought the man was asking if I went to Ohio Christian University.
Dude,
why would this man ask you that?
Yeah, no.
You're watching an Ohio State game.
It makes no sense. And honestly, okay, might be not a hot take, but I do think that a lot of people who constantly tell white lies feel a little insecure about themselves.
Or just lies.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, they do it to embellish and feel good about themselves in certain white lies.
But the grocery store and restaurant one.
Well, I think that's like it's a consequence of the constant lying, but the higher level lies are like to make himself feel good. And then the other ones just come naturally. But also, yeah, why are you lying
Like,
about
it's
going
not
home
hard
from
to
the
be like,
grocery store?
no, we didn't go to OSU. Like, what is this man gonna be like? Oh my God, I can't believe it.
You went to Ohio Christian?
I was like, oh God, you didn't go to Ohio State. I can't believe you didn't. Like, what? Can you imagine?
No.
Like, what makes you feel good? This man, random man at a bar you'll never see again is like, you didn't go to Ohio State. That's crazy, you dumbass. Like,
yeah, that's why I feel like there's a deeper meaning to his lying. I'm like, wow, if you're lying, you're feeling some way about yourself internally if you're lying.
or you're so used to not telling the truth and telling lies
Yeah.
that it's just a habit for you. And that's a character flaw.
No,
because you can't break not lying. I mean, you could try, but I feel like when you just lie about stupid shit, it's not even to get out of something.
Yes.
Well, that's weird. Like, that's a huge red flag because, like, if he can just say a lie like that, like, so easily and it's so insignificant. Okay, let's say something significant happens. Are you ever going to trust what he says? Like, tell you the truth?
Exactly. That was going to be my next point too. Yeah, that's what I meant like earlier. Like, it is a habit for you to do this, but I think the deeper reason as to why he probably even started was to make himself feel better about himself, about certain things. Because as somebody who lived a double life, I just know that that's where that stems from.
So you're like,
I'm telling you.
We didn't eat at a restaurant. We were actually grocery store shopping.
Well, those are the little white lies that, because it created such a habit. But I think it started off big. But anyways, that's not the point. The point isn't about why he lies. The point is, can you trust him in the future if you create a life together? And I think your answer is no.
Guys, a similar thing happened to me. So this scenario literally gives me
flashback.
Like PTSD flashbacks.
Yes.
This is very similar to this college one, like very, very similar. It's actually kind of scary. So me and my boyfriend at the time were in an elevator together and someone walked in and he was wearing a University of Wisconsin-Madison sweatshirt. And my boyfriend goes, "Go Badgers," which I think is the school mascot.
Yeah.
And the guy in the sweatshirt asks my boyfriend, "Oh, did you go to University of Wisconsin-Madison?" My boyfriend goes, "Yeah, I did." And the guy in the sweatshirt goes, "What year did you graduate?" And my boyfriend goes, like, I think he said like 2010 or 11, like whatever year, I don't remember. And so the guy in the sweatshirt leaves the elevator and we're still in the elevator. And I go, "You didn't go to University of Wisconsin-Madison and you did not graduate that year." And he goes, "Oh, I thought he was asking if I went to University of Wisconsin-Stevenson's Point." I was like, "No, he wasn't, because he was in a Madison sweatshirt and you go Badgers." Unless you all share the same mascot in these like Wisconsin colleges. Like, I was like, "Why did you lie?" And he goes, "No, I just misheard him."
Yeah.
And I was like, what is going on?
See, that incident alone isolated would be like, cool, whatever, you throw it off your shoulder. But the fact that it happens constantly and you catch him in multiple things and multiple white lies, I think that's where the problem comes in.
But you know what? I didn't actually think it was something I could roll off my shoulder. Like, it bothered me because I was like, why did you just lie to this random person we'll never see again?
Yeah.
You could have easily been like, "No, I just love watching, this, like the college teams from this college and I'm from Wisconsin."
Right. I feel like when you're talking to strangers sometimes, like, you catch yourself in a little tidbit of a lie and you're like, "Oh, I have no idea why I actually said that."
But when you're with someone it's weird.
It's weird.
Because he knows I know the truth.
Yes. And then
so
also,
like, huh?
if you're doing it constantly, it gets even more weird. Like, if there's like one isolated incident, I'm like, whatever, like maybe they just misheard it. But if it's constant, I feel like it's a problem.
I know, Pod Bestie. I am telling. First of all, these aren't white lies; these are straight up lies. And Pod Bestie's like, this is an issue. Like, this is a straight up character flaw.
Yes,
and I feel like you need to address it seriously, because if you think that your partner is a liar, like you're like, he has a lying problem, you will never trust him fully in that relationship. If he's not even admitting to why he lies to you, I feel like that would be a little bit different, where he's like, acknowledge he lies and tells you why he lies. But the fact he's gaslighting you, this is gonna become a really big problem in your relationship.
Absolutely. I agree. I think you have to address it head on and ask why he's lying. And even then, I'd be a little cautious.
Because you never want to get to a point where you like you're like, "Oh yeah, my boyfriend's just lying." Like, you just like, "Yeah, he's a liar."
Yeah, every time he leaves the room, "I'm sorry. Yeah, he does this thing where he lies, but just to pay no attention to it."
And then it's gonna get to a point where you're just like covering for him. Like, he like lies at a dinner with your friends.
Yes.
And he says something that you're just like, "What?"
Yeah, your friend's like, "Wait, didn't you say something differently earlier?"
And you're like, "Oh yeah, like, he's telling the truth."
Yeah, I was like, I misspoke, and then you're caught in lies. It's just going to be a huge mess.
Because what if his mom on the phone asks like you like, "Hey, what'd you get at the grocery store?" And you're like, "Apples and celery And
Yeah, like, what are you cooking
like
tonight?
bread, sourdough. Like, what do you like? Then you're a liar too.
Yeah, and the worst is like, yeah, what if like a situation is created where, what if your mom's like, well, I'm gonna come over, like, since you guys are cooking and you just got back from a restaurant, like,
Yeah, you're like, oh,
you just never know.
yeah, no, for real. Even the lying about the college, like him
Mhm.
saying he went to Ohio State, even though he went to Ohio Christian University.
Yeah.
Imagine if the man's like, oh, like, is that where, like, asked her something? Is that where
Yeah.
you guys met or something like that? And he's like, you're like, yep, yes.
Yeah, like, what did you graduate with? What's your favorite, whatever.
for real.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's definitely significant of deeper issues.
Yeah. Because not only do you have to cover for him, like, you're not gonna be like, oh no, my boyfriend's lying, sorry.
Yeah.
Like, you got to cover for him,
Right.
if you're like part of the conversation.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like there's gonna be a point, like when you get married, maybe you merge finances, you start a family, you would never trust your husband. This snowball will become an avalanche.
Yeah. And also the universe always shows you the truth eventually. So like those lies will add up and you'll be stuck in this avalanche.
Like someone be like, do you know your husband went to Harvard?
Well, pod besties, let us know if this advice helped you and let us know what you end up doing, please, because I need to know how you guys act.
No, please let us know. And obviously, make sure you leave a review and subscribe.
See you next Wednesday.
We think.
Yeah.
Bye.
I just never say it. Bye.